Hello everyone. Today this is going to be the first video of many to come on how to build. So we will start with how to anchor a block down, and we will find out how to insert blocks onto the base plate. So first off, there's this cube on the top. If you click the arrow, you get many options of what you want. But the most common one is a cube, but it comes out as a rectangle. I'm going to place in a couple cubes. And after I put these cubes on, I'm going to search up in workspace. I need a spawning point because I just don't want to spawn out in the air. So you could type in spawn point. There you have it. I like to have mine invisible, so I will just delete everything. Get transparency 0. Okay. So I'm going to spawn. This is what happens when you put an object. You see these objects I placed, but I can walk into them and ruin them. So for the first part of the video, I'm going to show you how to anchor an object and how to place it down evenly. And then the second part of the video, I'm going to be showing you how to build a small house but with no interior. And then in the end part, I'll show you how to build a house with interior. So this is how it will go for today. And I'll also be showing you how to use the property board and viewing board. So for step number 1, let us repeat that process again. But this time we're going to click anchor, which is on the home. And then we'll click it again and again. Or if you want to do this easier, you can turn on collision, then do Control D, 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 D. You're just duplicating that same part over and over and over again. But I recommend you always keep collision off, because if you have it on, you cannot move any other piece of it touching each other. So I'm going to spawn back again. And now I can't push anything or break anything. Now you saw me that I put multiple pieces together in order to make this block. But I only need one piece to make that. So you have the setting board. This is to duplicate, which is it has a short key of Control D. To cut, it's Control X or Shift Delete. And to copy is Control C, and to paste is Control V. To move an object or select it, you move it with your hand. To move it more, like say you want to move it in a very right angle at a very right purpose, I can move it as slowly as I want. See, we want it to go in it. It's going slowly, and because say I had to select, I can't really do that. It just goes off. So we have this piece down. We have it anchored. Now, what I'll be showing you is how to scale it. Now, there are many ways to scale an object in Studio, but this is the simplest one. You click the scale on the home button, and then you can scale it however you want. Now, there's a limit. You cannot scale it like super far, like that. It'll stop and it'll just go back. So we're going to be building a small but no interior house. So we're going to need to make this into a rectangle. So let's say we had it here. Say like that. Now what I'll be showing you right now is coloring and materials. First, we're going to start off with a material. We're building a house. Let's make it Modern looking or medieval looking? Let's do a desert type of house. So we're gonna make this concrete, and this will be yellow. But you need to decide on the shade that you want. This is a good shade. Now, a trick I learned is that, remember, you have to have collisions off for this trick. Is if you do Control D, and say for instance I wanted cobblestone too, you click cobblestone and then you shrink it. Click F. F will zoom in on that piece. You click F on your keyboard, and then you can do that little change that you wanted. And of course, say for instance that you had 100 pieces on your build, oh, but you forgot to anchor. Just do this, and you'll select it, and then you click anchor or unanchor. So we have the base, and then the main body. Now what we need to do is have the frame done. So I like to make my builds look realistic. I do low poly occasionally. And what you need to do is you need to scale this here and there and click the gray color. And then once you click the gray color, you have an interior. And then I click the arrow to make that small but precise move, and I do Control D, which will duplicate the object for me. I can move it. And then, say for instance you want to select these two and duplicate them, but if you select them, you're probably going to select the whole thing. You can select one of the objects and then click Shift, and then hit the other object as well, and it selects only those two. This trick only works if it's small, but if you like have 100 pieces for 1,000 build, 1,000 part build, then this won't work. It'll take you forever to select everything. So once you have this part done, we need windows and a roof. Start with windows. So we want to have, let's say, windows from here to here, so that's two. Say two on each side. And we don't want it too small or too big. So let's do Control D again on that piece. Do the size that we want. You can tell from the lines. I want to, let's say, like this. And then I bring it out. And then I don't want this color, so I'm going to force change the color. Let's do it dark gray. And then I could do Control D, push that up, and I can choose the color now. I don't like to use the glass material because it makes stuff invisible sometimes. So I like to use smooth plastic, and I like to change this color to a nice blue. Now, once I do that, I'm gonna make that part, that gray part, expand a little bit to have that little frame. Remember, everything still needs to be anchored, or else nothing will work. And then, for this piece, I can either decide to go to viewing and then properties. So this is the property board. It's like a mini section of the home. You can change the color of the brick. You can choose you want to cast a shadow. Reflecting is like if you want to make it like it's reflecting the sky. You see how it's reflecting now? As for transparency, this is what you use to make a real window. It makes things invisible. And then you got the position. I don't like to play with these. I like to move it with my mouse. And then here, if you a specific thing that you need anchored, and can collide. So this is what can collide is. So I'm gonna put a part, click on it. Let's make it big. Remember, I'm going to anchor from here, but you can also anchor from here. Click play here. Look, I can't go in it. I'm touching it and there's force. But if you turn off the can collide and click play here again, you could use this as a door. It won't get knocked over because it's anchored and it lets you go through it, which is actually pretty neat. So we'll do this for the interior room that we're gonna make. For now, we're focusing on this. So since this is an interior, you need to make this invisible. I like to sometimes make this neon color. Is it that bright? But since we're going simple right now, we're gonna keep that smooth plastic. Next is the frame. So in real windows, you have a frame that's holding the window in place. So I'm gonna scale this up just enough to go over the window and then sideways. Then you have a frame right here. And then just make it even as best as you can. You see it's not even right there? That needs to be fixed. There. And shrink the window. And then duplicate that. Will be F for a better view. And then there you go. You got a window, but it's not finished. As you know, I like my stuff well detailed. So we're going to do a Control D again. It's in the middle. And then this is the rotate. Now for the rotate, you can go into modeling and you can choose how many vertices. I have it on 0 vertices, okay? But say I want to have it on 5. It's 5 vertices. I click that. See how you get these lines? You could go 5 or 100 lines. It just helps you rotate it more specifically of where you want it. So I'm gonna do Control D. And that I like not to have this, so I have freedom of where I want it. Versus the lines, it forces you to go on one of the lines. So you have a window, but again, I want it to look a little realistic. So 1, 2, just one side. Everything has to be evened up correctly. I'm not liking that part. Let's duplicate this a little. Make it go on the bottom. There we go. Now it's starting to look better. Now, there you have it, a window. Now, this is where this tool comes in handy. You check on the side, and you see how much deep you want to go in, but you don't want the window to get covered up, and you don't want the window to stand out too much. This is a good size. See how it's barely out, but you can still see it. This is what we're aiming for. Push the yellow sideways, Control D again. There. Now, since you have a spacing right here, but you also have spacing all the way over here, do the Shift select, and then R. RTT makes it go up and down. R makes it turn. That only works on even surface, so that's something that you should be aware of. I still suggest you only use the rotate. So let's bring it in again. There you have it. But since we have spacing, we're going to add a third window. And then we're going to do Shift Select on all three, Control D, and then rotate. And then, do not deselect it. Get the arrow and move them. Don't just select it during that time, so don't click anything. Then again, repeat that process again. But this time, oh, you see what happened? I deselected something and it didn't select, and I didn't even duplicate it. So we're gonna have to make sure sometimes the arrows get in the way. You click it, but you actually click the arrow. So make sure you're only clicking that. I suggest when you're doing the select, only have the mouse, no arrows. As you can see, actually, a mistake. You see this? This is because of the arrows. So when I selected it, so I have to push that back in and now reselect everything. Control D, turn it, and put it here. Then push it in. Versus if you had the can collide collision, this is what would happen. I can't I can't put it in. It won't let me put it in. It'll teleport to the other side, but it won't let me put it in the way I like it. So I hate can collision. So there you have it. Can collision's there. And then we're going to use this frame to add a nice interior design. Get that nice interior design. Let's say I want to go like this. That looks pretty cool. Let's do Control D again. Do that. Then Control D again. There you have it. Got this nice front design. Now I'm not gonna do this for all of it, but what I can do is I can make that line do that, that, that. And then I could duplicate it over. But I'm not just gonna stop here. That's the thing. I'm gonna scale it since there's no interior in it. I can just scale it to the other side. See? Other side. There you have it. Now you have all three ways except that way with that line. And we're gonna do the same for this one. There. Now for our door. Our door, let's just keep it nice and simple. You can decide any material. I'm gonna make this brown, but you can either decide to do wood or wooden planks. I'm gonna do wooden planks for now. Oh, whoops! I clicked wood. Why? Oh, I select it. Do wooden planks for now. I want a darker brown. That's better. And I want the wooden planks to go tall wise, so I click T, but I don't suggest people click T. And that's it. Now this is probably going to be really small for a Roblox avatar, but this is just a model, so you can always make it bigger by scaling it once you group it. And I'll show you how to group everything in a few seconds. So wood. Now let's make it a little darker. Control D. The door frame. And then duplicate. Nice and easy. Now I could always add more detail, but since this is a simple build, I'm not going to add that much. Now, if I wanted to, we have toolbox, but I don't just use it for anything. But this is a trusted model that I use. It's made from Blender, and since I don't have time right now to show you how to go in Blender, I'm just going to use it. A triangle X. I don't suggest you use toolboxes because it contains a lot of viruses from people that are trying to hack your game. So rotate it if I like it. That triangle here. And since it's a Blender mesh is like a model from Blender. It scales differently. It scales. The scaling from Blender is better because you can scale it at a better pace and a better angle and design. like, there you go. We're gonna make this, I don't know, let's do planks again. There you have a simple plank with a nice gray color. Down, and there you have it, house. Now, remember, I have to make sure everything's anchored. I made sure everything's anchored, but to show you, when I selected it, everything's anchored. Now, say you want to move this build, and you can move it by selecting everything, moving it, but say you want to also duplicate it, and you don't want to do anything wrong. So you can do group. See this group? Click it. There's a short key, which is Control G. Control U would ungroup it. And I'm going to click play here. You see this house barely could fit me. I could literally just jump over it. So to solve that issue, since it's grouped, I could scale it to make it bigger. I click play here again. And it's my size now. Still jump over it probably, but yeah. Really neat. You see, this is uneven from the selecting that I did, so I have to go back and fix that. And that's about it. And for that, I suggest you just ungroup it, Control U. You can always just go back in the model. I'll show you how Workspace works right now after I finish this little mistake that I did. There we go. Okay, I'm going to reselect it and group it. Now, you see how this is the spawning point that I did. It keeps popping up. I suggest you hit lock and lock it. That means it cannot be selected anymore. Here, whoops. I lock, okay. Oh, whoops, I unlocked the base plate. Okay. You see, now I cannot select it anymore. See this build? I'm going to lock it. Once it's locked, I cannot select this anymore. It's like it's part of nothingness. Now, this is good for if you want to delete something and you don't want this to get deleted. But I suggest you keep everything unlocked and make folders. So everything in that folder from that part will lock. I'll show you folders and other particle stuff later on during more tutorials. And for now, skip simple. I cannot select it here, but always select the model here. I'm going to rename it as simple desert style. And from here, you can go down from these are window models that I made, the mesh part of the triangle, and the parts. And that's about it. And as for interior, we'll do an interior build in the next video because I'll be showing you how to work with Workspace. But for now, this is actually pretty simple. Building's pretty simple. The only thing is knowing what you're doing. And what else can I show you? Yeah, so say for instance you want to publish this. I think you try to save it. First of all, you might want to click publish, and then save it the way you want it. Let's say video 1 for building lesson. Whoops. Okay, you aren't really in the description. I'm the creator. You could use one of your groups to do creating, but I'm gonna stay with me. You can do console and all that. If you select console, it's gonna ask that there's no violence or anything in this game. I click create. Okay, now we need to save this. I suggest you don't do it as a file, but you save it to Roblox. So I'm going to save it to this. I can't publish it since that is the right one. I just published it, but I can save it to Roblox. Now it will give me a file option. But first, I need to have. I suggest whenever you make something, you turn off Team Create. It's not just for making a team, but also does automatic saving. So now it's reloading the thing with a Team Create on. It'll show me on here. And as you can see, there's no file selection anymore. Only it saves to Roblox and only Roblox. Now I could publish this to Roblox, but there's no reason to. And yeah, that's about it. That's the end of my video for how to build part 1.